Afternoon. I'm very happy today after a bit of comedy of errors in getting here, but I wanted to say thank you to the Farm Foundation for the invitation to share my perspective as a farmer. And today I just wanted to share with you some photos of my farm to put a face on a working dairy farm right now, trying to navigate these waters. I wear a few different hats, as you can read in my bio. I'm also a business consultant for Yankee Farm Credit, which affords me the opportunity to work with other dairy farmers on various sizes of dairy. And I will tell you that we're entering our 5th year of lower milk prices. It cuts across all sizes and shapes and business models of dairies, including organic. And if you want to know more about that, I'll be happy to share. But here we are anyway. I'm going to try to stay in my lane, though. Like I said, I run in about a 4-lane highway, so it can bounce back and forth a bit. But this is my farm. That's Wheeler Mountain right there. That's why we picked the name of our farm. My husband and I are first-generation farmers, though we are on his uncle's farm. It was purchased by my husband's grandfather in 1945. And that's Agatha in the bottom left corner. That's the current favorite of my boys, although my oldest keeps wanting to call her Arthur. This is a bit of a rundown of what we have on our farm and some areas that we're moving into. We have 475 acres. It's all preserved land. It's a conserved land, so we've sold the development rights to the farm. Actually, my husband's uncle did. It helped in making it affordable for us to purchase a farm. We have 80 cows currently, 50 heifers or replacements, 2 bulls kicking around. Anybody know anybody looking for a couple of bulls? They're for sale. One is pulled, both jerseys. 4 steers. We raise these Jersey steers for local beef sales because if you've never had Jersey beef, you don't know what you're missing. It's really good stuff. And of course, we have 1 mascot dog. Milk. Our milk is, we're part of the Agrimark Dairy Cooperative, and a few years ago, Agrimark bought a few brands, of which one is Cabot. We're 40 minutes from Cabot, Vermont. So most of our milk goes right down to the Cabot plant and is made into butter or cheese. We did just celebrate our 100th anniversary with Cabot. So it is quite a feat. And we also started as a butter cooperative. So a lot of similarities with Agrimark and Cabot and Land O'Lakes as well. We also do some small composted cow manure sales. I feel funny calling it actual compost because it's really just, well, you know what, it's manure. And getting through these last 4 years of low milk price, for anybody who doesn't know, it's very easy to grow a dairy farm because in order to get milk, a cow needs to have a calf every year. And so the herd, if you're a good manager, can grow very quickly internally. We call that measuring internal herd growth. And so we actually started with 8 milkers in 2008, and we're up to 80 now. And we've got room to grow, but it's very thin margins with milk, and as you well know now. And so we've recently expanded into, we have a forest management plan now, so we know exactly how much wood we're allowed to harvest in terms of both firewood and hardwood and softwood each year. And we also have 82 acres of sugar woods, which is exciting. And we're going to we just got approved for a loan to buy a new tractor and to also develop our sugar woods. So that's exciting areas of growth for us. So we're really going to be even more diversified than we already are. This is a Twitter. I'm a big social media person, although I refuse to join Snapchat. I've got to draw the line somewhere. But I'm on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. This is from Twitter. This is my pinned tweet. We bought the farm 2 years ago. Actually just had the 2nd anniversary last week, and it came and went just like it did last year. And oh my gosh, we've been landowners for 2 years now, and we didn't even register. So anyway, registers in October when we have to pay the taxes. But This is a picture of our family. We have 3 kids. I felt compelled to show you what my daughter looks like. She's actually in that picture on the left, but you can't see her. And I really hate that picture of myself, but everybody else looks beautiful in it. So, and she's just really fitting right in on the farm. She's got an empty milk bottle there that she kept trying to feed to the calf. Gotta kind of work on that and get some milk in the bottle next time maybe, but anyway, we have a good time. So I wanted to, it wouldn't be a presentation of mine if I didn't at least try to join in the graph and the numbers discussion. I wanted to bring it down to a farm level. The blue line is the price of milk, and for you milk pricing aficionados out there, this is the Boston Standard Uniform price at 3.5% butterfat, 3.2% protein on an annualized basis. And the red line is the net cost of production. So that takes into account depreciation as well as it adjusts accrually to try to capture 1 year of expenses. And it also gives you credit for any non-milk income you have, like bull calf sales or bull sales, cull cows, patronage dividends, government payments. So that's, at the end of the day, that's matching up what you need in a milk price to what you're getting. And so you can see in 2015, 2016, 2017 was a glimmer of hope there, but very small net margin. 2018 was again above cost production was flip-flop from where the milk price is. And that comes from the Northeast Dairy Farm Summary, which I wrote for many years. And so it's a real number. It's not a survey of numbers. And that's also just another caveat here. It's all of Farm Credit members. So I'm going to tell you, they probably have some decent record keeping. You have to have accrual. You have to have year-end balance sheets and everything. So probably maybe a little bit higher management level in that summary, which means the actual picture's probably worse. Also, I'm usually a pretty upbeat person, so it's hard sometimes to share these numbers. But certainly national attrition of dairy farms is sobering. We lost over 2,700 dairy farms in 2018. We had a 6.8% attrition rate, it's the highest we've had in 18 years. The biggest dairy states lost the most in terms of numbers of farms. I'm sure you've seen the stories coming out of Wisconsin. In the first quarter of 2019, they've already lost another 200 farms. Licensed dairies are down 59% in the last 20 years, and yet we're milking 2.7% more cows. So how does that work? I just want to take a minute to sort of explain this conundrum. It is sort of a tragic flaw of our industry. On a microeconomic level, at the farm level, when the milk price goes down, the only way you can increase your top line, your gross revenue, is if you increase milk per cow, which takes time, and there's a whole industry of nutritionists and feed companies that are willing and able to help you figure out how to maximize your milk per cow, especially even better if they can balance that with the types of forages you grow. For example, we don't grow corn on my farm. We rely primarily on our grasslands. Or you can milk more cows. What do you think's easier? To milk more cows, right? And so I've had a lot of discussion with younger generations over the past few weeks of why this makes sense. Why should we milk 25 more cows? When it's going to leave the industry in a worse position potentially. I mean, you're talking 25 cows in the face of what? 13 million across the country? 9 million, sorry. 9 million. But still, what makes sense on a individual farm basis doesn't always line up with what's best for the industry. And so, and obviously when the milk price goes up, you want to maximize on that, so you put more cows on. It's also easier to build barns when milk price is higher. Your banker might go along with it a little easier. But I will just mention that because we did have the privilege or the honor of Secretary Perdue coming to visit Vermont when we started tapping some trees earlier this year. And he was caught making a comment about he doesn't think we have the appetite for supply management in the dairy industry in the U.S., but he also thinks we need to stop expanding. So it's really a hard problem that we have. Certainly, we were gearing up to be a major player in the world export market over the past 10 years. We've had a goal of exporting 20% of our dairy industries by the year 2020. And we were getting there. We have some of the best farms in the world here in the U.S. in terms of dairy production and of course, other commodities as well, but I'm staying in my lane here. And we can compete on a global level, but we've got so much coming at us to have this trade war, and the tariff retaliation is really just really tough. And just to mention Vermont, we lost 90 farms in 2018, so we are 730 farms left. When I came to Vermont in 2009, we had 1,100 farms. This is a neighbor. This is just the middle of April. Similar to Pete's presentation, I pulled out some headlines to share in my presentation. This is a really sad story. 30 cows. Grandfather's health was going downhill, and this is the granddaughter with her daughter in front of the farm, and they just couldn't keep up with everything. In 2015, Vermont did a study on the impact of the dairy industry in Vermont. We know it's pretty huge. I mean, when you think of Vermont, you think what? Maple, dairy, skiing, Lake Champlain. And certainly, we did, the data did support that dairy farming is the only kind of farming in Vermont which majority of farmers generated most of their income from farming. Of course, I had to find a picture with a jersey. Small state, big impact. 63% of the milk produced in New England comes from Vermont. We have, I gotta speed this up. We cover about 900,000 acres in Vermont, which is about 15% of the state. And Vermont dairy brings $2.2 billion in economic activity to our state, which is about $12,500 per cow each year. And I would just add on to Pete, it's not just in ag-related industries, it's also in our schools, our restaurants, the dentist, it's everything. And by the way, I'm coming from a pretty depressed area in general, but also within Vermont in the Northeast Kingdom. 80% of our kids in our school fall below free or reduced lunch, so all the kids get a free lunch in my school. We cover 6,000 to 7,000 jobs in Vermont. We provide $306 million in wages. And these stats just show how it's important, how important dairy is to residents and to our visitors. So here's some of the headlines, the local headlines, much like what Pete shared, but being who I am, I couldn't leave on a negative note. And I will tell you that people ask me, wow, you work with dairy farmers, you must be so depressed. Isn't it depressing working with dairy farmers? Yeah, there's some sad stories out there, but more often than not, it's exciting. It's exciting to see what people are doing, the changes that they're making, the big decisions they're making, whether it's to move on from dairy or to expand or to get into something else, to fire all their employees and take on the work themselves. I just hope it's enough. And so, with that, here's my hopeful next generation on the farm. You know, this is why I'm here today. I have about, as you can imagine, probably just like many of you, so many other things going and places to be and things to do, but it was important to me to be here to share my story, our story about the dairy industry, and to hopefully work to make things better for these guys. Thank you.
Okay, please join me in thanking